Hey everyone, this is Mike McIntosh here, and I'm going to show you my assessment tool today, which was Poll Everywhere. Now, this was a online-based tool you can use on, I guess, any device, but it's not necessarily an application. It's more meant for browser use. So I used Safari. You can use anything, and just in order to get to it, you open up Google just like any other web page or website. We'll type in Poll Everywhere. You can do polleverywhere.com, but for this, I'll just type in Google Poll Everywhere. Um, polleverywhere.com, like I just said, we'll click on that. And this is the page you'll see when you open it up. This is their home page. Now, obviously, if you haven't created an account yet, you'd have to log it or register or create a new account. Really simple process here, very basic. It's free, doesn't cost anything. So you just type in your basic information, name, all that good stuff, username, password, so that it's yours, and then create an account. Now I already created an account, so I have log out where you would have log in. Now I'll go to my polls, which is your, I guess, what your main screen will be upon creating your account. And then this is what it looks like. You wouldn't have any of this stuff here because, again, of course, you wouldn't have created a poll yet. Now this is my poll that I used, physical activities group, and this is my actual poll. So I had, as you can see, I had 18 responses. I'll show you that in a little bit though. For this, I'm going to create a new poll to, I guess, show you how it's done. So we'll go to create in this top left corner. If you already have a poll, you can import it, but I'm going to create a new one, just like this. Now, the cool thing about this website is you can use it for numerous different options, multiple choice, as you can see all the options right here. Now, for my specific outcome, I'm going to choose a ranking poll because that was my GLO, which I guess I'll show you right now too. Nope, not that. Let's see. Here we go. So standard 5, element 3.4, so that's the 4th grade outcome, and it ranks the enjoyment of participating in different physical activities. Now this is important because, again, ranks the enjoyment. So I'm going to choose a ranking poll. All right. So another great thing about this website is it's very, very customizable. You can, although it doesn't have to be, you can choose to customize it as much as you want, but or you can just leave it very basic and simple. Now, title, for this new one, I'm just gonna, instead of getting into the specifics of, for the interest of time, I'm just gonna type in physical activity. All right, and another really cool resource here is you can upload images instead of words or combining with words. So maybe if you're making a poll for younger students, maybe kindergarten, who might not be able to read very well yet, you can upload pictures instead for them to see and manipulate. All right, so this is where you can make your options, your choices for your students to look at. Different physical activities. I'm just going to choose running. It can be anything you want, but this is what I'm going to go with for now. Running, walking, I don't know, swimming, and we'll do biking. Just as a couple options of physical activities. Again, now you can include minimum 2, but you can include as many as you want, really. I'm going to do 4 for this one, I believe. For my actual assessment, I had 7. Again, that's just kind of what I ended up with. Now, after that, add another activity or create. Now, this is what I'm going to go with for now. Create. Upon clicking that, you'll have this screen come up where you can kind of just go with it or configure a lot of the settings you'd like to see. A visual, all sorts of different options here. Changing the theme, dark, bright, classic, color scheme, choice, a bunch of different colors. There's some pink one, that's exciting. Alright, heat map, long bar, short bar. So again, that's more to do with the final results page. It's font, size. Whoa, it gets a lot bigger, a lot smaller. Voting instructions, text color. As you can see, everything is customizable here. You can make it however you want to display to your students, which is a really cool thing. You can develop it based on maybe your students' interests or what have you. Background here, that's what I want to show you also. You can insert an image as a background instead of just a plain color, so that's a nice tool you can use there. Access labels, instruction view. This is kind of cool to box them up, make them look a little more 3D, pop out of the screen. But again, up to you. And total results, you can show the total results on the chart or not. This is important because when it comes to displaying it, if you were displaying the total results onto a screen like I'll discard it for now. If you're displaying your final results onto a screen like a smartboard, or in my case, I use a Promethean board, which is I guess just a little more high-tech smartboard because that's what the school happen to use. It doesn't include a projector. It's almost like a big TV screen with the same accessibility as a smartboard. But anyways, so you can show what you want to show to your students on the big screen as they take the poll, so they can or cannot see the results as they finish it. All right, so again, show responses, not show responses, really important here. This is what the students will see. All right, so I'm going to do show responses for now. Activate. You can activate, so this is when your students can, I guess, take the poll. Now, as you can see up right here on top, this is a link you can copy and paste to where your students can get it. Either they can just copy it down, or what I did, again, utilizing the resources my school already had, I uploaded it to their Google Classrooms, so they can just click it and it opens it right up for them to take the poll. Now, it worked out nice for me because I just happened to be subbing that day in a 4th grade class, and they had phys ed, so I could go with them to phys ed, and then right upon coming in back in, they all got out their school-issued Chromebooks and were able to take this poll right away. Now, being a phys ed teacher, maybe that's not as realistic. You can't quite do that, but you could ask them to take their Chromebooks to class, or you could even rent out a library or computer lab for the last few minutes of class if you'd like to get it done that way. I know another option. I was talking to my the phys ed teacher at that school. You could have them go one at a time, because another cool thing about this website is you don't necessarily have to have them all have their own devices. You can have them maybe come up one at a time during an activity to fill out on maybe an iPad or a mobile device. This can be used on mobile devices too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a laptop or computer. And they can do it one at a time and see the results afterwards. But again, for this one, I had them do it all at once. All right, so you can lock it in. See if you press that, responses are not accepted at that time, so you can't have anybody else add after a certain time. If you'd like, again, up to you. Clear your responses, so if you want to reset everything, full screen, this is good for presentation mode, right? All right, so that's what I used on my big screen. And then testing. Now, again, this is looking out for this on this right side right here, kind of highlighted just there. That's what basically it would look like for students taking on a mobile device like a cell phone. Again, then here's the poll right here, or that's what you'd click. If you click that, this is what would come up for the students. Once the poll is activated, they'd be able to type in their name. All right, so I guess for me, I would type in Mr. McIntosh and continue. Now, this is what they're seeing again. When they're taking the poll, they can click on the different options. See, as you click on them, arrows will show up. They can manipulate their options up and down, again, just like they're ranking them. Whichever they prefer most goes on top. Pretty self-explanatory. Whichever they like least goes on bottom. So doesn't really matter here. Walking, biking, swimming, running. And then once they're done, they're going to submit their response. I'm not going to submit my response right now because I want to show you instead the results of my actual poll. Presenting, again, how to present gives you a little explanation. Then sharing, you can share it through an actual entire, I guess, link, or a quick link right here, which is what I use, much easier for students to use themselves. All right, so I'm gonna go switch gears a little bit. This is how you make a poll. I'm gonna switch gears and go to my own poll back here in my polls, and this was my one. Rank your enjoyment of participation in the following physical activities. Now you can see I got 18 responses on mine. That's how many were in my class. Actually, there were 19. One student was out, but that's besides the point. All right, and again, this is before my results. This is what the students would see. This is the main screen. Visual settings, you can, what was I looking for here? Oh yeah, so showing responses at the end, this is what I displayed to my students on the Promethean board. Actually, I've got a better view right here. I've got a screenshot taken of the Promethean board where students were able to see their results. Again, I didn't show them until they were finished. And this is what we came up with. So team sports was number 1, the most amount of first place votes. Then running, followed by swimming, hiking, walking, extreme sports, and snow skiing, snowboarding. Now, that'd probably be my my last choice as well, because not a big fan of the winter stuff. But that's what they chose. We talked about it as a class afterwards, discussed why people might have chose those as higher or lower, and how it's an average, a class average. Again, you can go to student responses, but this again is class average. So we talked about how it came up with that, and not necessarily everybody's first choice is going to be team sports and last choice is going to be skiing. Again, it just averaged everybody out. This gives us a good idea of maybe what we can focus on more in phys ed for their personal enjoyment, what they like the most. All right, so they learned, again, the importance of ranking their own physical enjoyment of physical activities, because we did this as an individual activity. They did it on their own Chromebooks without any, they weren't supposed to discuss during the activity with peers, because again, if you discuss with peers, it's likely you're going to have your decisions influence, want to be like your friends, stuff like that. So they did it individually, submitted their response, and then we talked about it afterwards. All right, I guess cons about this tool. Again, it does make it a little more difficult if your school doesn't have issued devices like Chromebooks or iPads, things like that. I believe I said before, it is possible to do it one at a time, but not as easy. All right, you can have students come up during the class do it on your teacher's devices, an iPad, something like that, and have the results afterwards. But yeah, so that's just not as conducive, but it's possible. So you can use it. Big thing I liked about it also is the different here, let's see, different options you can choose. Make it a competition, open-ended survey, all sorts of different options. Again, ranking was good because that went along with my personal grade level outcome. Okay, so other than that, it seemed to work out really good. Students really enjoyed it. They liked the idea of trying something new, especially using technology and PE, two of their favorite things. This technology was perfect to assess my outcome once again, because right here, this was virtually my outcome word for word, little changes, but ranking your enjoyment, and this was a ranking activity. They were able to rank the different physical activities and their enjoyment. So that couldn't really have worked out better. They did meet the outcome because, again, they were the ones ranking their activities, which was, again, the outcome needed. I thought they did really good with the activity. They all seemed engaged with it. They were very interested in seeing their results and comparing with others afterwards. But during it, they were making their own choices, which again worked out perfect. Assessments. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess have any questions? You can contact me, but again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Right on polleverywhere.com. You can create your own polls, import polls. I guess one more thing that's pretty neat is the ability to group different polls into different categories. Like this is the physical activity category, and I have this in here. You can make different sections, it's almost a whole classroom page if you wanted to create actual quizzes for students based on off this website. All right, so participants. Now again, if you really wanted to, you can pay and get more features involved with this, but this is a free feature right here, just creating the polls, having students do them, and getting your 18 responses. Now, I guess, here you go. One more thing. Here's my students' actual responses. You'll see screen names, Chase, Caitlin, Caden, etc., and their responses. So you can see each student's actual response going all the way down the list here in order. So a lot of them, as you can see, team sports, team sports, team sports. Running was first for Braylon here. Hiking for Colin. Team sports for Jimmy. So another really cool feature, and this part again is free. All right, so you can see how they ranked individually, and also how they did as a class. All right, so thank you for following along. Hopefully this helped, and you can use this tool in your physical education classroom as well. Thanks a lot.